Hello and thank you all for watching. This is Many Sunny Sun for an Astrological Report. We begin with this monthly forecast for the sign of Aquarius. The sun will be entering there. So between January 21st to February 21st. So let's begin. Aquarius is one of the last of the air signs, which evokes the middle of winter. Here we'll need to come together to cooperate and survive. Planet rulership is Uranus, which of course represents shock, renewal, change, destruction, reform. Aquarius, of course, is an analogous with the 11th house, which of course represents friendships, community, hopes, wishes, and dreams, projects, humanitarian efforts. So to see a portrait of a native of an Aquarius, analogous of the sign, the psychology, and a description of what can influence this sign, and then we'll finish it off with some very dominant Aquarian Uranian influences. So let's begin. Aquarius. We'll engage in this exercise and we'll give you a portrait that you'd like to adopt in another method of approach. It has come from a contrary sign, which of course we'll need to work through these points. First, let's, I don't like to claim pride, the conventional, the pre-digested values, all the rules, but without any rational foundation. What I like is, I like to be free. I like to be able to do things in my own head, being surrounded by lots of friendly people that are truth, they are simple, and they love everything in life. So we understand easily that an Aquarian sign here is both utopian sign, but also an individualistic. They, however, care for that matter that others think, as long as I know that I'm in the right path, but become not harmful or step on other people's toes. I firmly believe here in the progress and the evolution for me and for the world. Besides, I tend to live more about the future than not in the past, and let's say I'm in the moment. But that is a very fleeting moment of where everything seems very possible. And sometimes I make this to be very close to the sign of Aries, because they like to play, because they are bold, they are innovative, they're creative, and they're like to take risk. They're the daredevil, innovative, ready to reform at any split of a second. So finally I come down with age, and I still think that it's nothing can match my own direct experience in life. So in love, I think I'm quite a complicated person. I'm honest, and I'm also frank, and I can often be tactless because I'm too spontaneous and I say what I think. I'm not looking, especially considering the passions, because I love the rapport as a bond of complicity, intimate understandings, and sharing. I also love that my partner and I can have a lot of mutual interest here in common projects that we can move forward in the progression of time, but also I give more priority to my own friendships and relationships. To love, because the sentimental line can be quickly tend to suffocate me. Some tell me I'm intolerant, and this may be indeed the fault that we Aquarians like something to, but things in the right questions can introduce new rules. Basically, I feel I must concede that we do not like authority unless we are the ones in authority. Though, on the second thought, I will also change the rules that have been laid down previously and can rationally say why they are wrong. I still think that true Aquarians, the pure type, unfortunately, that is quite rare. It is the real humanists, the ones that are here to love thy neighbor and seek happiness, and equality for all, respect his neighbors, see the foundation of community life. I also deploy generally not a lot of energy in my daily life, but this nervous energy, more explosive than the real vitality of endurance too. I'm wary, I'm fast, I'm quick, and I tend to break the status quo regular to catch my own breath. My tone is mostly used to understand and create as I let the material pleasures of earth to earth signs. The neighboring sign of this Aquarian sign is, of course, the next one is 12th house, Pisces. which of course is beyond me in the detachment here. For me, it's human material that counts. If you understand that, which I mean, and that is not always easy. Yes, I often really think differently. To be just an intruder upon this world. Hey, I have certain pleasures since I love to differentiate myself. Pure thought does not really interest me because I am more pragmatic, deep, and I like to find application upon reflection. I think, be really complicated to the bottom. And we sometimes have been accused of being unpredictable, but in fact, I do not know myself why I react exactly so or so. Here, an Aquarian type has a lot of ideas to sort out all these things, imagination to spare. I believe also that we have a faculty of empathy, but maybe it's just that I'm a good listener. In any case, I really project myself in the shoes of the other, which allows me to quickly understand their thoughts. However, this does not prevent me to keep all my own personality as my type, symbolic of course, empathy. Nothing. I understand with hindsight, with attachment, but I do not get involved emotionally. Sometimes, of course, I'm been attributed because there is certain coldness of me. However, I would like to finish by saying that this emotional detachment, of course, is kind of a security. I know I empathize without any collapsing. Okay. I admit I'm a very weird person, I would say. Some analogous connections with this Aquarian sign. Well, let's begin. Certain places you'll find with this Aquarian sign would be in meetings, cooperative factories, rebellious meetings, scenes of riots. Certain philosophies or religions associated with this sign would be humanitarian efforts, dictatorship, individualism, and certain analogies for this sign would be associated with the 11th house. Planet rulership is Uranus. Certain professions would be an electrician, computer scientist, film industry, publicists, voluntary sectors. The anatomical description for this sign would be the ankles, the calves, the nerves, nerve impulses, the circulatory system. Certain qualities for this, I would say they're independent, they're revolutionary, progressive, visionary, they're inventive, they're quite innovative. I would say that certain defects, they can become extravagant and individualistic to a point. Certain relationships or stereotypes with this, they're friendly, humanitarian, humanist, collaborators, hopes, wishes, and dreams, I would say. Certain astronomical analogies for this sign. Well, Uranus was discovered by Herschel, March 13, 1781. Uranus, of course, is a planet putting some 84 years to circle around the zodiac. The discovery of a planet is, of course, invention. Indicates both that mankind is ready to receive the energies of the celestial body and that it will grow in the importance towards the future. Any new planet that indicates a kind of new direction for humanity, overcoming of a border that allows to move collectively towards a new lifestyle, new horizons hitherto that have been unsuspected before. The discovery of Uranus here is therefore the beginning of a new cycle. It's a new policy that's being planned. Various revolutions in the world have taken place. The French Revolution, the American Revolution, the War of Independence, science, the first balloon flight, inaugurating air travel, industrial revolutions, or ideas that are revolutionary and progressive. Kant, the philosopher, we see that in general, Uranus, of course, represents certain innovation, futuristic ideas, and in fact, goes against old models and structures. So here, certain mythological analogies for this sign. Well, Uranus is, of course, a Greco-Latin myth. Tells us about the nature of the planet and its effects. Of course, Uranus arises spontaneously from the earth. It shall be treated to what is instant, deeply innovative, all that seems to spring form out of nothing without, representing a continuity. It's without being tied to the past. Uranus has neither relative nor root in the present. Uranus is just the beginning of the world. It is the primary embodiment of the spirit in matter, and therefore represents that part of us which embodies humanity, tearing chaos and nothingness, the beginning of life, of new worldview. Of course, this is primary side that implies well thought, nonconformist, deeply individualistic, as independent of education, and therefore the entire lineage from all attachment. The fact that Uranus is hated by his own children and is sought to get rid should not be interpreted very emotionally. Like any parable or symbolic metaphor, at this level it takes to conceive. Here, one speaks of being pure from freedom, of denying any coercion, any fixation upon lineage, including that of our own children. It is also interesting to note that the creation of Uranus and his own children here, to return from that final against his own self, since Kronos, of course, emasculated his own father, which is analogous with, castrating his own ability to think, his own focus in life, creative faculties, or a certain structure in life, to belong to society. And it's tempting here to bring Uranus into the modernity of science, arrived with here in this astronomical discovery. Children of science, evolutionaries, will not destroy this libertarian breath that is profoundly original and gives the science itself. Another myth represented by the study is that of Golem. This Bible psalm is in Psalm 139, verse 6. The use of this word is in its original sense, a golem or embryo, which is thus formless substance like Uranus, that which is born of the earth from nothing, according to the legends is of the Jews, to try to defend the Crusaders, but uncontrollable, created the terrible weapon. Golem here had to knead with red clay of the earth a human statue on his forehead, and then write the word Jew life, Emeth. Immediately here, the creature lived and grew with great rapidly, becoming a giant. The only remedy to turn the golem in an inert mass was clearly on his forehead, the word life, and replace it with the word death, meth. We recover here that the idea of a monumental life force, after being nothing and quickly becoming uncontrollable, as it is with his raw energy, which is wild, enormous, uncontrollable. Another legend tells us about the rabbi and the two men went to the attic, or the golem, and was created then by marched 7 times around that body, making magic words, and on the 7th day, on the life force that left golem. On closer, number 7, of course, 7 planets, and that of Uranus is also understood in this metaphor. That the perfect control of 7-fold energies, and it's the master necessary to control, to have power of life over death of the Uranian energies. A portrait of a dominant Uranian chart. It is necessary to have all these qualities to be an Aquarius. Indeed, if your natal chart, Uranus is in the ruling planet, see the calculation of a dominant lexicon. And to see where the negative or positive in the sign of Aquarius, however, dominance of a Uranus shows subtle shades of temperament compared to the dominance of a sign of Aquarius. So, portrait of a Uranian Aquarian type. Uranus have an open mind about the unknown. Their character is original, who likes to cultivate the a position that is unlike others and by all means available. He does not want to be locked in by an affiliation because it's of its own independent nature. This sign or planet lives presently in the present intensely. The spirit is inventive, excessive, and sometimes utopian. Wants projects in the future. He rejects everything that can be undermined in its freedom of action or thought. Similarly, he hates drudgery, repetitive work, but likes that deems unnecessary effort or any form of linking towards a routine of existence. That is why it is always on the lookout for new discoveries that would allow the release of daily stress and increasing its speed of action. So here, for him, the vocation of a man is to think, invent, and to discover here. The demanding task to be performed by the machines. The Uranian knows how to provide ingenious solutions to all problems of heavy easements. Thus, we have a lot of Uranian tools and inventions of progress, i.e. those that work continuously without any human interventions, like computers, technology, satellites, washing machines, everything that is electrical. This energy is expressed in spurts, alternating the indifference and excitement turned to the mobilization and commitment. His taste for new ideas, its fun for discoveries, and the desire to make us undivided contribution makes him quite a character of a humanist, constantly in search for developments of any form of communication. He's a pioneer of his own marginality, who does not hesitate to cross borders of the inconceivable, like the forbidden. This, of course, is in fact one of the qualities or modalities, is to be a genius, eccentric, original, rebellious, depending on how it is perceived. The Uranian qualities is perfectly adapted to the evolution of the world of modernity, the revolution, technological and cultural stasis. The fate is that the lady or the future of our time is quite representative of this era of Aquarius we are currently experiencing, and that will last for more than 2,000 years. Aquarius is a sign of master planet of Uranus. It remains that the Uranian person may be distracted of behavior that is unexpected, sometimes quite nervous, having a lot of difficulty concentrating for long-term plans, repeat, and that sort of character that is of this quintessentially. How this home native can love to born of a friendship, a particular affinity, or even shared interest. Most of the time here, the Uranian remains secretive about the profound nature of his own readings and willingly shows cold and dry in speech. There is no fan of the words because it also tends to reject social conventions and anonymities. Similarly, it is prone to legal unions and does not easily yield to tradition. It is rather born prone to lightning strikes with love and enthusiasm, frenzied with passion. Lovers of freedom, independence, the Uranian excels in activities where routines will be excluded and where he can experience his own talents at his own pace, at his own time, and his own rhythm. How rugged is individualism. If it is, however, come to power, too often tends to change into tyrannical, almost harsh aspect because it enacts its rules without any worrying about of this individuality of others. However, it will instead turn to occupations that are innovative, research, frequent social and humanitarian goals and perspectives. It is not concerned with money because their needs are the needs of the moment. It is mobilizing. Its energy is in the emergency of need. The rest of the time, he will be able to live day to day with the means available. Vitriolic portrait of an Aquarian or Uranian type. Well, human beings can erase or evolve these qualities, and it happens instead that they might be embroiled in negative impulses. This regression can, of course, be driven by alcoholism, by circumstances particularly difficult, or the accumulation of neurosis. So the fact still remains that this value is largely corrupt and can make a portrait a bit vitriolic. Here it is the description of an Aquarian or the Uranian type, and it can develop negative and despicable. This picture both applies to men and a woman. So negative Aquarian, this person can be a draft individual, a dispersed, often weird, who takes pleasure in everything else and is called even to hurt him or harm his own family. His whole nature is turned to a systematic and almost rebellion and free spirit, very egotistical, seem out of whack or to ordinary mortals. The Aquarian negative of this can be a fake archon, a humanist that plays as a fake reformer, false friend, and basically only its uniqueness, interest, and ideas in general are also incorrect, and its logic is flawed. on unequal temperament that has to pass as an idiot enthusiasm with icy indifference. It fails to set goals and stick to it because it is in perpetual conflict with itself, and its decisions are often absurd because it's based solely on its own desire to stand. Often miserly or greedy, he will worship and chip away and cheat, being able to, in his own attitude, a new way to express his own innate revolt for this world. Man, in this particular case, can become deplorable. Affair are as too bold or too unstable, and it often specializes in odd jobs and small scams. This old barrel sentimental level will seek only to be admired because it is incapable of any dedication. Moreover, he prefers his bar friends, swindling his own family, specialist of self-delusional. And I am in total care attitude. He or she is either moves right or left, and is always favoring superfluous to the indispensable, and therefore able to exchange his own house for a hypothetical gold mine in South America. So, Uranian personalities born under this sign can George Lucas. For me, an Aquarian type evokes the air sign, communication, needing to communicate, reform. They specialize more into reform and progress in humanitarian goals and ambitions. They make great people to connect the inhabitants of this planet Earth. Of course, Uranus is the leading planet that is. So they can, in many ways, can change any social class. They have an extraordinary sense in the chaos world. They make a great moral teachers, very structured people. So Uranus, of course, represents technology, astrology. That is why I could say that the glyph of the Aquarian is the lines, the waves. They can symbolize water, but in its sense, water is it moves. It's a channel, and the spiritual water can be represented with the connection that nourishes in the most essential way. Water can be as a waveform or energy. That's why it is represented with electric and shock and thunderstorms by this Uranian sign. So Uranus was discovered during the Enlightened Age, so that's why it is representative with energy and inventiveness and shocking people just by the mere acceptance of it. So Aquarian signs can be a bit breakthrough energies. They are involved in much of that energy. So in a way, they have negative ways, but also very positive ways. Able to seek development in causes and humanitarian efforts to try to bridge cultural differences also. So thank you all for watching. I just described Aquarius and its analogous to the 11th house of friends, projects, and humanitarian causes. And its planet rulership is Uranus. Thank you all for watching.